When I turned 18, my parents decided to leave me home alone for around a week to kind of get to know what it's like to live on my own. I was honestly kind of excited about this. I've obviously been home alone before, but not for a long period of time like this. So this was kind of a big deal for me. But my parents did lay a couple ground rules though, which was fine. They told me no parties and only 2 friends were allowed over at a time. I was honestly okay with this because I don't really like parties anyway. My parents soon left and I was all by myself. I figured I would spend a couple days alone, so I didn't call anyone over. It was weird at first, but by the first day I got used to it. At this point, I was home alone for around 3 days, so I decided I would invite one of my friends over. I called my friend Gabe, and he said he could come over in a little bit. Around 20 minutes later, I heard a knock on the door. I yelled the door was open, and he walked in. But the weird thing was, Gabe didn't come upstairs, he walked into the kitchen. So I figured he was just getting a drink and he'd be up in a second. About 5 minutes later, I heard someone walking up the stairs. I then heard someone walking to my door and suddenly stop. I laughed because I thought it was Gabe just trying to mess with me. I didn't open the door because I thought he would walk in any minute. A couple seconds later, I heard a text message come to my phone. It was from Gabe. He told me he was on his way and that would be a couple minutes before he got here. I said it was funny how hard he was trying to scare me and that I knew he was outside my door. He responded with 3 question marks saying, "What do you mean? I haven't even left my house yet." I froze. He even proved it too. My heart stopped. I slowly walked over to my door and locked it. The man must have heard it because he started screaming like a maniac and pounding on the door. I was terrified. I then called the police and told them there was an intruder in my house. The operator must have heard the man screaming because she told me to stay on the line until the cops arrived. The screaming stopped, along with the banging on the door. I then heard the police sirens. They searched the house and they found a raggedy old man hiding in the basement. He apparently escaped a mental hospital that was hours away. I don't know how he got to my house, but he was taken back to the hospital and everything was okay. Gabe arrived shortly after to make sure I was okay. He stayed for the rest of the week because I was really on edge. Let's just say, I'm always keeping the doors locked no matter who is coming over. This story takes place when I was around 11 years old. My mom and dad went out to eat for their 13-year wedding anniversary, and they said I could stay home instead of getting a babysitter. I was super stoked, because I didn't really get to stay home alone that often. Before they left, they told me not to open the door for anyone except them. They soon left, and I was going to be home alone for a couple hours, so I turned on the TV to kill some time. I then heard some scratching on the window, but I told myself it was probably just a branch. I then got tired of watching TV, so I decided to play some video games for a bit. When I was in the middle of a game, I heard the noise again. I walked up to the window and it stopped. All I could hear now was silence. The only thing I heard was the commotion going on in my headphones. I tried to listen very close to what was going on outside, and then I heard footsteps rushing through the grass. I went and turned on all the lights in the house to show someone was home for the chance that it could scare the person off. I didn't necessarily know they were going to do anything bad, but who would be walking near a house that isn't theirs at this hour? It was almost 11 p.m. at this point, and that really came off weird to me. I then heard a knock on the front door. I thought it was my parents, but they would have called me if they were on their way. I slowly walked over to the door and looked through the peephole. I saw a tall man I'd never seen before in my life, and then I took a couple steps back in shock. I told myself I definitely was not going to open that door. I then heard the man speak, saying something along the lines of, Hey, can you help me? I hurt my leg really bad from a bike accident. I need it treated and wrapped up." I didn't even respond. I then heard a loud bang on the door along with the man saying, "Let me in a more stern tone. I called the police and told them a man was banging on my front door and telling me to let him in. They said an officer would be over shortly and to hide in the bathroom and lock the door behind me. I did just that, then I heard the sound of shattering glass a couple seconds later. I was horrified and trying not to make any noise. The man somehow found out I was in the bathroom and he started slamming on the door with even more force than before. I heard sirens moments later and the man ran away. He didn't get far though because the police saw him run out the back door. The man was apprehended and taken to jail for breaking and entering. I'm just happy the police came when they did because I have no idea what that man wanted from me, but I'm glad I didn't have to find out. I'm a 17-year-old girl, and one day my mom had to go on a business trip, and like always, I was allowed to stay home. This didn't come as a surprise to me because this actually happens quite often. My mom said she'd be back in a week, and all I had to do while she was gone was sweep the floors. Later that night, I was watching TV, and then I heard a random noise come from my closet. I've been hearing things coming from my closet and other parts of my room for a while now, so I didn't really think anything of it. About 3 minutes later, I heard it again. This puzzled me because the sounds I've been hearing never happened that close together. I walked over to my closet and opened the door. Nothing was there. I shrugged it off and I got back to watching TV. Then a loud noise came from my closet and it kinda startled me a bit. I knew it wasn't a house noise because it sounded like somebody fell. I walked over to my closet again, but this time I tried to be a little bit more quiet. I slowly opened the door and I found a large man lying down on his back. He wasn't moving. I then proceeded to call 911 and told him there was a creepy looking man in my closet. Surprisingly, the man didn't move. When the cops arrived, they realized the man was dead. Apparently, the man slipped on some clothes that I left on the floor of my closet, and he slammed his temple on the edge of an old dresser I had. The police later found he had my underwear in his pocket, and that genuinely horrified me. The more I think about it, the scarier it is. Like, what was he gonna do when I fell asleep? I'm just glad I didn't have to find that out.